There we go.
Where's Joe?
And we're live. And Joe's taking a sec. So there. So we are now on week 95, guys. Welcome everyone. Week 95 on Becker Family virtual tasting, and just a great lineup today. We got the vertical tasting of Wilmeth Family Cab. I got a 2000, and in this order, it's going to be 2017, 2016, 2015 Wilmeth Family Cab, and love to introduce everybody on the meeting tonight. So we have owner Dr. Joseph Becker. We have illustrious grape grower with us and guest Jet Wilmeth that provide this beautiful fruit for us. We have our marketing director Nicole Bendele here with us, our amazing new wine club director Kaylin Hall, and then myself, the e-commerce and logistics director here at Becker Vineyards, and welcoming y'all once again to enjoy these wines, and thanking y'all once again to invite us into your house to enjoy these wines with y'all as well. Joe, if you'd like to go ahead and provide some words and of encouragement, we can jump into these beautiful wines.
You bet. Just as I say, my dad and I always say, you know, with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's always a pleasure to share this time with everybody out there, you know, with our extended wine family, and you know, always, and also, you know, I have 3 boys, and always just a thank you and an appreciation to all of the teachers that are braving this, that are putting themselves out there, that are working hard for our children. I know that my children's own school, they've been down teachers and substitute teachers, and everybody's been kind of you know, having to stretch and reach and do a lot more. And so I appreciate everything they do for my children and everybody's children, and just all the hard work they put in. So I thank you to that, and of course my brother, who's a teacher, so I thank him as well. But anyways, it's like I said, it's wonderful to join you all, for you all to take this time every week to spend with us, having a glass of wine, hanging out together. And with that said, I'm gonna point first that we got some recent wonderful awards in the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition. We won 3 golds, 2 double gold medals for our of course our 2018 Wilmeth Cab, which we'll be talking about shortly, a best in class for our Petite Syrah, and a double gold for our Malbec. And what I wanted to say, because I kind of looked at our award summary last night, since 2016, let me see if I can pull this up. We have won 134 total gold and double gold medals in all of our major wine competitions. Many of those grapes coming from your vineyard, Jet, including the 2015 Cab we're going to taste in a second. But I have to say, you know, Jet, your grapes are responsible for a lot of these incredible medals. What do you think is, you know, you have an incredible Cab vineyard. What's been your experience there? What do you think, you know, has really allowed such incredible grapes to be grown there?
God, the sunlight we have here in our elevation, keeping the diseases away, keeping the adequate chemistry of the soil and what the needs of the vines are, the crop load, not to, you know, get it extravagant. They're well-trained vines. The oldest ones, unfortunately, have been suffering as of late from many different aspects of what's going on out in the environment. And we're going to have to pull them out and replant. But,
and I would also add, Rachel, this is also a big credit to you and John for all of this, you know, to win, you know, 2 double golds in the same year, plus a best in class. for those that just to understand why these, we enter our wines in a number of wine competitions, but particularly like the San Francisco International, the San Francisco Chronicle, these are industry peers. These are wines are from all over the world, and to win a double gold, as I've said before, you have 48 judges that are tasting your wine in a blind tasting through 3 rounds of tasting, and each judge has to give your wine a gold medal through each round. So it's an incredible honor, and I really think it's a tribute to you and John, and in this case, Jet's wonderful grapes. So I thank you.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with you. I think it's the coolest thing in the world when, people around you who are also making great wine and who drink a lot of really great wine, taste our wine and go, it's pretty good. Well, it'll do. It's right. It's worthy.
Especially when they look at it and say, gosh, you guys can do this in Texas.
Growers, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Anyway, so Bobby, I'll turn it back over to you.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, we're gonna start off with the 17. Once again, everybody that's joining us on Facebook Live will start off with the 17 Wilmeth Cab, which is amazing. We haven't had this in the tasting room for a while because we've been on the 18 vintage. So to come back and revisit this is just a treat to enjoy with everyone out there. So Kaylin, since we haven't had you on for a little while, sorry to throw you on the spot there, but if you'd like to kind of, talk a little bit about this 17 Wilmeth Cab and share.
Absolutely. So it's been, a while since I've tasted this, and I'm happy that it's on the virtual tasting this evening. The nose, I'm picking up a little bit of floral, but I'm picking up more, maybe some coffee notes, some spicy tones, maybe some herbaceous tones as well. But the fruit is really, really lovely. I'm going to liken it to almost plum or blackberry, maybe into like the boysenberry realm. It's gorgeous. And the tannins are there, they're full, but they're not astringent. It's fantastic.
Right. So
I can go, friend. Jump right in there.
Yes.
To me, and I don't know if maybe it's because Bobby was so wonderful to pre-pour my glasses and cover them for me, so I feel like they're opening. But
what about me, Bobby?
No, he's
I was there to pour the glasses.
but I'm getting just a lot of pyrazines on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm getting quite a bit, and it's that like coffee to chocolate, but still like a green coffee chocolate kind of pyrazine note. But that fruit is so beautiful, and I agree with you that the tannins are soft but very present.
Yeah.
So Rachel, I'm going to put you on the spot because I always like to ask John this question. Just as a winemaker, when you're making a cab, are there memorable cabs that come to mind for you that you kind of think about as you're blending or that have inspired your palate?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many years we've had. We used to have 3 vineyard designated cabs all the time, and now we have 2. It's the
Right.
Canada Family Vineyard and Jet's Vineyard. And I think that's really, really cool that we have 2 consistent vineyards for over a decade that have come in, and we just know that they're going to come in so beautifully that we just get to work with them, and we do what they want us to do, what those grapes want us to do, which usually is not a lot of interference. And then year after year after year, we've made all these beautiful cabs. And Jet, you hit on this a second, and it always breaks my heart a little bit to hear that we're going to have to pull up that cab. And we've known it's coming for a little while. We're just making room for more great cab. We're just going to put a different spin on it, and we're making room for more great cab. And is there a specific cab that I remember all the time? There are often varietals that come in that you remember over and over. One of the things that I always like to think about is whenever Jet's cab and then when Brenda's cab come in, and they, because of where they are and season and stuff, they usually come in pretty closely together, that you can walk through our tank rooms and you can smell them. And if
Right.
if you're walking through, you can smell it and go, that one's Canada's, that one's Jet's. And they're so very distinctive, and they have their consistently year after year, very distinct characteristics that it makes it a lot of fun to work with.
So Jet, you were saying about last week, about 23 miles apart from each other, from
Yes.
door to door.
Yeah, the Canadas are northwest of Plains. I'm gonna say about 9 miles or so, 9 or 10. I'm not sure about that mileage, but I know from Plains to here is about 18, 17, depends on, but as a crow flies, about 17 miles.
Right, right.
What is the soil makeup like in that great Cab Vineyard, Jet?
Oh, okay. So we've got the brownfield soil, and it's part of it is that, and part of it is Amarilla, and it's a red plain sandy loam with a caliche layer down about on one end. It's 3 foot to caliche. On the
Okay.
other end, it's about 6 or 7 foot to caliche.
Wow.
So one end, it's got a lot more of the clay and ferric characteristics. On the other end, a little less, but still very reddish type soils.
Yeah.
And we're at about 3,500 feet elevation,
Okay.
just a tad over 35.
Higher than us down here.
Well, and so a lot of
Yeah.
people say, so why do you mention that? And I go, well, we have less atmosphere, and so we have better quality of sun, intense sun, than other places.
So cool.
Nicole, I want to hear you. You've got a wonderful palate. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. I guess one of the things that always jumps out at me for Texas Cabernet Sauvignons is there's always a lot of raspberry notes. And some years it might be dried raspberries. Sometimes it comes across fresh, maybe even a little jammy. I would say this one comes across a little bit jammy. It's also, it's nice and chewy. It's very full. It also reminds me like I'm biting into like a plum tart. It's got those plum notes like Kaylin was mentioning. And then also it's got a little bit of those baking spices working with it. And then I do pick up a little of that pyrazine in it in the wine. But I think it's beautiful. The 2017 has been a stunner and continues to go that direction.
Now, Jed, on that 17 vintage, that 17 harvest, we've all talked about this for 95 weeks now about 2017 harvest with Hurricane Harvey. What was going through your mind with the fruit and harvest and everything, especially with this cab?
I don't remember.
You've slept since then, right?
Okay. But from the best of my recollection, I don't have my records in front of me because guys turned the lights off. I'm in the dark. What I remember is we have a delayed that year because the hurricane was, lurking, but it hung a little longer, but a very good growing season. I think one of the things that happened was on that curve, where the phenols and all the other things and the sugars, it just slowly crept up instead of getting there early in the season. And so when they crossed out there, it gave a lot more of those characteristics. I think in about 3 or 4 more years, this cab's going to be extraordinary. That's what I expect. Now, when I first started tasting this, a roasted bell pepper flavor. Now that I'm getting a little more, further into the tasting, it's raspberries. fruity.
So that's, yeah, I feel like that's such a unique characteristic to your vineyard, Jet, that it, that when I particularly taste your cabs, they always just, we said this before, they always start off with such dark, rich, darker fruit notes. The raspberry, it's such a wonderful, and it feels like it, you know, it really allows these wines to age for a long time. Rachel, I'd be curious, we're talking about pyrazines, that bell pepper note that Jet's talking about. Is there any Cab Franc in this at all? Do you know?
I do know that there is not any Cab Franc.
None.
This one actually is 100% off of Jet's Vineyard. So
Wow.
there is the Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. His Merlot.
Okay.
Mhm.
What percentage of Merlot?
It is about 10% Merlot.
Yay, Merlot.
You know, we talk about in 2017, it was, we call it the big banner year, right? It was a beautiful, beautiful bumper crop for everything grape related. And maybe one of our tackier little notes was, if you didn't make great wine in 2017, you should probably rethink, because it was handed to us on a platter, right? Because the fruit was just beautiful. And coming back to what Jet was saying about how Hurricane Harvey, you know, pulled in all this high pressure, low pressure system, and it just kind of hovered right around the high plains. And it just, we had those great diurnal shifts. It never got so hot, still Texas, but it never got so hot that the plants were shutting down and the sugars did not skyrocket overnight. We were able to maintain all of our acids, which is not a thing that we normally do in Texas. That's one of the first things to go. Like Jet said, all those phenolics developed, and the fruit just came in beautifully. I mean, it was just so nice, so lovely. I feel like 2017 gets a whole lot of credit, which it deserves. 2018 was not so shabby, so we should, you know, put it in a little notepad in the head and mark it for later, that wine is probably going to be pretty good too.
Well, that wine also just won a double gold, wasn't it? The 18 one in the Chronicle. There you go.
No, it's interesting with the hurricane is, you know, most hurricanes, they come in, they keep moving, but that one, I mean, as far as the brunt force of it, you know, stayed in Houston. And then, like you said, you had the hovering effect in plains, but it was just interesting that it didn't just move on through. It hovered, which is kind of unusual.
I think that was the year that we brought in some like 600 million pounds in 3 weeks. I don't know what the exact stats were.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
And it
right.
was like 3 weeks that we brought in so much fruit. And
I think we did.
I don't exactly remember either. We were kind of busy that week.
I think we did 1,500 tons total that year, right? Was that the 1,500 year?
That was 2019.
2019.
Yeah, I had to double check that one. Yeah, it was, I can't remember exactly, probably close to 1,200 tons,
Okay.
somewhere between 11 and 12. Yeah.
But
It was pretty-
17, the fruit all came in a shorter window, because when it became ready, I mean, a lot of the varieties came on at the same time. It was crunch time out here, and I'm sure in all the wineries across the state, it was the same thing.
We were hustling.
Long days, hours. Yeah, I think that was the year that or maybe it was 19, but one of them I set a record. Didn't get a bit of sleep for a little over 3 days.
Wow.
What a great record to set.
Yeah, I don't want to do it again. I'm too old for this shit.
That's why you hire people to.
I've heard of that, but I'm a stickler for doing it right. And if there's a mistake, it ends here. So if I can't, I've got to try to keep that from happening. Not to say I'm perfect, but I've got to do everything I can to meet, and I'll mess up from time to time. Yeah.
That all shows into this.
Yeah.
Well, we keep trying, and yeah, every winery I sell to, I might glitch on something, but there's several other things that I did well, you know.
Now, on that note, as a farmer, it's I always say, in my opinion, the farmer is the original gambler. Forget going to Las Vegas. What keeps you as a farmer continuing to be a farmer? I mean, there can be so many wonderful things that happen as a farmer, but there can also be so many things that stack up against you as a farmer. What keeps you waking up every morning and going, you know what, I'm going out to farm, I'm continuing this? How do you, with all the things that can be thrown your way, what makes you continue? What makes you continue to continue? What makes you continue doing this?
I'm stupid.
No, strike from the record. Absolutely not.
I
I echo Rachel. Jet is just joshing with us.
Yes.
I've shared with people. I say he's very serious about growing grapes, but everything else he likes to have a good sense of humor about. But does take growing grapes very seriously.
Yeah.
well, so you got to do your job.
Genius farmers I've met yet.
You've got to do your job, and to do your job, there's a lot to it. There's, the chemistry and just knowing, and I've done it all my life. So I know the pitfalls, and I know there's going to be, some stuff happen from time to time. You're going to stump your toe and it's going to hurt real bad. But that said, I guess it's in my blood. I mean, because I went to college and I wanted to be a doctor like these Beckers, but I didn't get to do that. Some things got in my way.
Looks like
But
you
anyway.
a grape doctor.
That's what I'm thinking. You're a great doctor.
Grape doctor.
I'm a great doctor. Okie dokie. See, Dwayne? Anyway.
You've been prescribing antioxidants here.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's I do everything I can, what I can do, and what I can't do anything about. I don't dwell on it. You can't dwell on those things you can't do anything about. And I say that, and yet I still succumb to those what ifs.
So here's a great comment, Jet. Gary Clark says that if Jet quits farming, he can be a TV game show host.
I guarantee I got this one.
Yep, that's true.
You got to be quick on your feet.
Yeah,
That's true.
quick-witted. Get those answers out there.
Yeah.
So on to the next one. If we're all ready for the next vintage, I really enjoy the 17. It's really good. That jamminess, the depth is there. But tasting the 16, I think it's got to run for its money.
Let me just make a point while everybody's tasting that how much I appreciate that and for those of you watching, that is a real fire behind Bobby and Nicole. Every single one of us thought that was a faux background, but I just have to say that means so much to me because my parents were mom and dad had to have great fireplaces. When I was growing up, and in the house I grew up in, we had a wonderful stone fireplace in our kitchen and a wonderful fireplace in our living room. And my parents loved to build wood fires. And so that's one of my favorite memories of childhood is sitting in the kitchen or the living room with the fire going, maybe doing my homework. But and that we always joke because my parents loved building fires so much that it would be April and 60 degrees outside or 70 degrees, they're still going to build a fire. So anyways, if you come out to the winery, we have some wonderful fireplaces. So that means a lot to me.
Well,
I didn't know your mom was a firebug.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I was when I'd get home from school, and mom would be cooking, dad wouldn't be quite home yet. The first thing mom asked me to do was always to build her a fire in the kitchen. As soon as I got home, she loved it. She loved cooking and having the fire going. And oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
My daughter and I actually rearranged our living room for winter. Not so much just for the Christmas trio, that plays a little part in it, but we rearranged the living room so that we can place what we call our cozy winter setting right in front of the fireplace, just so that she and I can sit there at the fireplace every night.
Right.
Yep.
We actually, I agree, Rachel. We're the same way. My wife and I have a fireplace, and we have sort of a cozy couch around it. And we love to build fires in the winters and get our boys there and sit there and read books. And we love it.
Yep.
Just like what you're saying.
Well, the reason why we did we felt so cold looking at Jet with the snow in the background.
Okay, for the record, I think we've been colder here lately.
Yeah.
We invited
No.
Jet to come warm up, because it looks like his back is towards all that snow and cold, but he's I think there was a little distance involved here, but
That's right, just a little bit.
we have room to accommodate him.
Oh, I'm getting plenty of heat. Y'all's warmth is coming through the screen just fine.
Awesome. So on that note, Rachel, flavor profile, nose, all the fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, isn't this pretty again?
Yes.
And I think this is a great example going from the 17 into the 16. There's still that characteristic that holds through, right? And so often I talk about Jet's words about his vineyard and the soil were a little bit different than what I usually say. I usually say it's that when you think of West Texas and Lubbock and you think about that red dirt blowing in the wind, soil blowing in the wind, the red soil blowing in the wind, that is the epitome of what is out at Jet's Vineyard. And you can taste it. And to me, so often there's just like this, not that it necessarily tastes like cinnamon, but it's got that, like, if you've ever put cinnamon, dried cinnamon, ground cinnamon in your mouth, and it's got that tactileness, that is that terroir that always comes through to me from Jet's Vineyard. And that 100% is there. It's still got those beautiful chocolate and coffee notes.
Mhm.
Not as big of pyrazines as the 17 did, but they're still so very prevalent, and just that beautiful, beautiful fruit.
And Susan Hanks, I agree with you. There's wonderful spice and black pepper on the nose with this one.
Or-
Always with the warm baking spices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Kaylin, we're going to pick on you.
almost- right?
So when transitioning from the 17 to the 16, initially when I picked it up, I hadn't even really swirled it yet. The first thing I thought of was like sweet, anise, sweet licorice, something along those terms. It's very deep smelling. Like I'm picking up, of course, a little bit of black pepper, maybe some hint of other baking spices as well. Once again, I'm picking up some of the same floral characteristics I was picking up in the 17. I want to say along the realm of like eucalyptus, maybe, I guess I'd be more herbaceous, but eucalyptus, violet, things in that realm. And naturally, I'm picking up all of the chocolate and the coffee and the beautiful things. And this one's still got quite a bit of fruit on it that I'm picking up as well. But initially, the first thing I noticed was like, oh my goodness, black licorice. And I'm still adjusting my nose and palate back to my, before my COVID breakthrough at Christmas. And so I'm not sure if that is all due to that. And I'm just picking up something out of the blue. But for me, that was the first thing, the sweet licorice.
I think that's actually a really great point. Do you feel like now that your senses are coming back, and those two specific senses, not all your other senses were always intact?
They were intact, yes.
Do you feel like you're much more sensitive to certain things?
To specific things, yes. So initially, when I lost the sense of taste and smell, I could smell nothing. But I could tell when something, of course, had acidity or capsaicin, or if it was sweet, but it was really difficult for me to actually nail down what beyond that. And slowly but surely, I was able to start picking up spices and what I was drinking and eating. more before I was able to pick up like, oh, that definitely tastes like orange rather than lemon. Both of those things just tasted like acidity. And so it's taking me some time to almost retrain myself what things smell like and what they taste like, and then translate that into what it smells like and tastes like in wine. It's been an interesting time, and sometimes I smell things, I'm like, is that real? Am I crazy? Have I lost it? And so it's really nice working with a team of people that have really incredible palates and noses. So that way, whenever I say something, I can look at them. And then if they outright look at me like, oh no, do you smell burnt toast? Then I know something has gone. But it's been interesting retraining myself how it all works. The world is brand new again.
I mean, not a fun problem, but kind of a really great, interesting problem to get to retrain yourself in our industry. Like that's not a chance that we usually get. You know, it's constantly moving forward, and you're like, nope, starting fresh right now, doing it again.
I feel everything is shiny and new, and every time I'm smelling something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was. That's what it smelled like. That is how it was. And or maybe this is completely different than the last time I remembered it, or maybe my nose has just gone crazy. But we're working it out. But
So,
sweet licorice.
from my point of view is when I came out of the Rona, I didn't think mine was affected much, but maybe the olfactory system, some of the parts of it were squelched by that. And that accentuated things that we normally didn't pick up on. And now we are, and we're going through an evolution back into what's the new normal? I don't know.
I hear you there. I certainly was able to pick up on unpleasant smells first, and now I'm incredibly sensitive to all things. Garbage has to go out every single night immediately after cooking dinner.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
I think this is great for our Facebook Live family and friends, that we can share this and help them if they've gone through that as well, and to say, hey, you're not crazy, you're not making things up. Like this is, it's building back.
That's
We're as wine doctors, we are here to help you through this difficult time of
That's right. Yes,
Right.
sir.
cheers, here you.
Cheers to that.
Now,
Nicole, what are you?
I'm so sorry.
Nicole, I'm going to put you on the spot. I would like. What are you tasting any big differences between the 16 and the 17?
It's interesting having all three laid out, and it's like I recognize the terroir in each of the three, but definitely the different conditions of each year is making them be a little bit different. And so this one, I feel like I pick up more of an I do pick up dried raspberries on this one, but I also pick up kind of an earthiness, like walking through a forest, like that forest floor kind of essence. And then, and I also feel like I'm picking up more of the minerality notes, like say the caliche part. I know Jet said that also he has that red sandy loam, but I feel like I'm picking up a little bit of that dusty, caliche characteristic. And I also am picking up more chocolate, like your cacao, those little kind of bitter notes on that. And then also even a little bit of like an olive leaf tea, where you're just getting a little bit of that essence there. So recognizing that it's in the same family, but it's definitely fun to be able to do a vertical like this and just know that the different conditions, the weather conditions for each year, make your wine express itself a little bit differently, but very delicious, very delicious.
So Jet, I know that we've talked about this in our, vineyard meetings and gatherings and chats. I've always joked that we need to take really, really good, it's not a joke, it's actually really serious, but say it with a light heart. We need to take really, really good notes for 10 solid years, because in Texas, you're not going to see a repeat year within that 10-year span. Do you take good weather notes about what's going on and how your grapes grew and the effects of them?
Not as good as I should.
I know, me neither. Kaylin and I were actually talking about this just last year. I'm like, I really should keep a better notebook and need to go revisit some almanacs.
Yeah.
Rachel, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, Rachel, I've always learned so much from those West Texas trips. I have to say, you were the first to tell me about the Hurricane Harvey phenomenon and looking at nitrogen in the soil. So I to your credit, I know that you put a lot into it, as does Jet. But and I think that's why both of you are responsible for a lot of our awards.
I love it. It's so fun. I think it's so fascinating.
It really is. I've seen some really cool gadgetry out on your property, Jet.
That too.
Right?
Rachel pointed that out to me my first trip.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, we have some soil moisture probes. They have sensors at different levels down to about 6 or 7 feet. And it records the temperatures and the moisture levels. And we do core samples on soil samples to see what's going on at different levels. And so we've noticed some things over the years, and we've adjusted and then taken more samples, not just soil samples, but patio samples at different times of the year. And yeah, it's evolving. We're still learning and still moving forward and trying to do better. I hate that there's some things going on in the environment that's skewing, I'll call it that, but it's pretty disheartening at times to see the effects on the vines of what's going on.
We've seen it. It's depressing. It's
yes,
rough.
it's some of the vines just have died because of it. That wouldn't have normally died. Others are just so what's the term I'm looking for? Struggling, for lack of a better term. I know there's another term I was looking for, but just not healthy, not as healthy as I would like them.
Yeah.
But we're struggling through. We're pushing through. I've got to make this happen somehow or another, and every time I get a chance, I try to find some way to overcome some of these issues. The one I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Is the monster in the room, and that's Mother Nature. And when there's no moisture in the atmosphere, you get to deal with the consequences of 80 degrees, and then that night it goes to 24. It's too big a swing. And so the plants, no matter what age, they suffer.
Share with our virtual tasters about the effects of snow. So you're obviously in an area of the state where you're predicted to get more snow. And sometimes the rest of us in this part of the state won't see any. So when we actually see it, we consider it pretty rare. But would you explain for our viewers, about the snow and how you welcome the snow when it comes in and what it does in your vineyard?
Well, of course, the obvious thing is moisture, but it also, if you get a deeper snow, it will insulate, that bottom part of the vine, so that it doesn't get quite as cold. With the snow, a good snow, comes a natural type of nitrogen out of the atmosphere, and that's always awesome. Wheat pastures love a good snow.
Nice. So then that balances out the temperature swing as well, right? Or
Yes. If you have moisture in the atmosphere, snow, sleet, hail, it doesn't matter. This time of the year, small hail is welcome. It's, big sleet, we'll call it. And it's moisture, and it brings nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen. It brings moisture, and that puts water vapor in the atmosphere, And that changes the climate to a little more temperate. And so the temperatures stay more moderate, like if you were in Italy, surrounded by water.
I think you're dreaming now.
Oh, you mentioned dreams. I've had some crazy dreams lately. I don't know if it's from the Rona or my stresses. I don't know.
I think it's a vacation. You need a vacation.
I need to go fishing in Port Aransas
There
so
you go.
bad. Yeah, have some tacos and go fishing.
I'll join you, Jet. Well, let's do it.
I want to say two things. First, you're making me think one of my favorite life experiences was when my father-in-law took me fishing along the land cut down in Corpus. That was wonderful. One of my favorite memories. But as I understand it, with particularly the storm the big winter storm we had a little under a year ago, one of our saving graces is, I know in the hill country we got a kind of an ice storm before the snow that sort of insulated the grapes and gave us some protection. I think I remember our biggest worry was whether or not these older vines were going to have splitting in the trunk, but I think that ice kind of protected us. I don't know if that's what you saw in the high plains or yeah.
No, we didn't see that so much.
Okay.
No, but we saw a lot of bud damage, and we saw death to vines. I mean, the root, it killed all the way.
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna have to jump in for a second and make sure that we're talking about the same freeze. So about a year ago, last year, we had what I call the blizdemic in February, right?
Right.
Texas, especially down here, we shut down for a whole week. And then you guys just October before in 19 had what we now termed a Halloween massacre, or the almost Halloweenish massacre. So deciphering between the damage between those two. Well, I mean, I realize that was a whole year apart, but looking from the vineyard side, we saw a lot of damage that carried over and over and over. I kind of felt like here we had such warm weather, it almost teased the vines into starting to wake up, but they should have still been dormant, but most of the vines were still dormant. So we didn't have huge losses. We had effects, 100%. Did y'all have the same? Can you decipher between the two freezes?
Yes. So in 19, we had a late fall or early fall, late in the growing season. The vines that had been harvested like a week before that, it seemed to hurt them more on that Halloween freeze. However, and it seemed to matter a little bit about the yield, how big the yield was on that variety. But Mourvedre had a big yield, harvested the day it froze. And it didn't suffer a bit.
Oh.
No bud damage, no cordon damage, no trunks. It went right through the February freeze, the apocalyptic thing. We didn't see any damage.
Wow.
What damages Mourvedre is a hail right before harvest. Yeah.
Because it was still tiny.
That will, I mean, well, of course, everything at that time, right before harvest, you get hail, it's bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And you try to harvest that fruit and save it from what's coming. And I could see that storm coming last year. And I had to get it out. I said, we're not going to have any fruit. This storm comes through, that's going to be it. And that's absolutely what happened. We had a hailstorm that night, and I was like, thank you. I harvested that. It wasn't the bricks I wanted, but it's better to have some fruit with pretty good bricks than no fruit. Don't matter about the bricks. Sorry.
Yep.
Going off on a tangent.
It's good.
Let me think, Dolcetto. It hadn't liked the weather lately. It does not like big swings up and down. Yeah, some of those vines have succumbed. They've died.
Hey.
But we've got enough out there. They're still gonna make a yield. Okay, now we better get on to the next one, huh?
We're on to the.
This is too much fun.
This
My
is-
game show came out. I've got
That's
to go to the next door number 3.
Nah, this is.
So I was thinking a minute ago, Jet, when you were talking about getting no sleep, when I was in college, I had a sign in my room that said, "Remember Ballinger," because when we used to have that vineyard in Ballinger, and I'd have my cousin and my catcher on my baseball team. We were all working out at the winery, and we in the middle of harvest, we would, we'd wake up in Fredericksburg, and we'd wake up at 5 a.m. We didn't always have a mechanical harvester at that time, so we'd harvest grapes by hand, and then we'd be finished processing, cleaning by 10 at night. And then we'd drive 3 hours to Ballinger, Texas. As my dad always jokes, although it's true, hoping that the Desert Inn Motel had turned on the air conditioner in August so that our room would be, cool to sleep in, and then wake up 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours later to start harvesting again. And so I was always, I always thought, that was really hard work, so whenever I'm having to study hard, I can always remember this may seem hard, but that was really hard. Just to inspire me to keep going.
Everything in perspective.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
So this wine, this 2015 is incredible. And this was the year that just to come back to another wine competition, we've talked about this before, 2018 San Francisco Chronicles, when we had 4 double golds, including this wine. 2015 Wilmeth Cab, the 2015 Canada Cab, our Reserve Merlot at the time, and our Raven, or these were incredible wines, and they did well in that competition, to the point that the Hearst organization sent out some of their editors and higher ups to come out and say, what is this Texas winery? What are these Texas grapes that are winning these awards? But this 15 is, for me, is an incredible wine.
I agree. Joe, what are you getting off of this wine?
Sure. So this is, it's so fun for me. You think about the 17 being a younger wine, and always getting those wonderful dark fruit notes off of your vineyard, Jet, but then just how it just integrates. This wine is smooth and rich and dark, and just an absolutely lovely vanilla note. I think that probably comes from the American oak. This is a beautiful wine, I have to say. Rachel, you and John did an incredible job with this.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Good job.
thinking about 2015, I kind of feel like I'm slacking a little bit, because we think about 13 and how terrible it was, and 14 was a good recovery year, and then 15, I feel like we kind of bounced back to normal, and maybe I didn't for sure pay enough of attention about how normal was, and I don't remember great things about the weather. I don't remember catastrophic things about the weather, which is really cool, but I don't remember great things. Like, what about this wine is so different? And I do think this one actually tastes so very different from the previous. Again, still that string of characteristics. You still got your terroir, Jet's terroir, but I think this one is brighter. It's that raspberry note, Nicole, that you're talking about, 100%.
So, two interesting questions here, Rachel. First is, if you don't mind commenting on what the blend was in the 16.
No, and I'm sorry, I meant to do that and I got distracted with other things. So the 16 was, so 1 second, 81% Cab, 16% Merlot, and 2% Cabernet Franc off of the farmhouse vineyard. This one is 80% Cab and 20% Merlot. So we have a type. We have a thing we like.
Second question is, and I think this is important question. Somebody says, why is your wine so much better when your grapes ride on the same truck with the Canada family grapes? It's
That's
Brenda,
Dwayne.
Brenda, somebody is asking that.
Oh, was that
That's-
Dwayne? Did Dwayne ask that?
That's got Dwayne written all over it. Are you kidding
I
me?
can hear him saying, our grapes made yours better because they're on the same truck.
Dwayne or Brenda or both.
No.
Record, we actually bring in so much, they don't get to ride on the same truck. We have to have their own truck. They're kind of good too.
That was great.
Thanks, Dwayne.
I'm glad you pointed that.
You knew it was coming, right? That's great. That's
Thank you, Brenda.
That's family. So yeah, no, I agree, Joe. The beautiful vanilla notes is just so prevalent there. It's just it's so beautiful. Still getting a little bit of that cinnamon that just kind of showcases right on the back of the palate. The dark chocolate, the espresso, the plum, almost like a plum jam. That's really cool stuff. Jet, do you recall 15? A little bit about 15? If it was like weather patterns, conditions, dry, wet.
Was Dwayne helping you harvest grapes that year or take care of your grapes?
Dwayne's never even been over here. Unless I'm offering pizza or something like that at we had a meeting or two over here, and he would show up and he'd scarf up all the food and then he's gone.
But always with a smile, and that counts.
What's that?
Always with a smile, and that counts.
Oh yeah. He's always got a smile.
That's right.
No, I love them, and they've been over here, but not during harvest time. They've been busy on their own place.
Yes.
Yeah. So the 15, I'm trying to remember, and it seems like I made a good cotton crop. So if I made a good cotton crop, I probably got moisture during the year.
Very cool.
And because this done as it did as well as it did, it wasn't a cool. Wasn't an extended cool period, because if that had been, we'd have got cloud cover and it wasn't, but evidently we had some storms. It rained. We got plenty of sunshine. That's what that's my answer.
Awesome.
I feel like we would remember it if it was a cool summer.
Right.
We talked about that. If it's
Rarely do we get a cool summer. It just doesn't happen. Rarely.
Whatever we did really, really well. This is really pretty.
It is good. It is very good. What's an anise?
Licorice, like
Yeah.
black licorice.
Kind of characteristic.
That's a little bit in here, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's that real dark.
It's a characteristic in a lot of great, a lot of the older Napa cabs, a lot of the great older Bordeaux have that beautiful anise characteristic. It's
I love that you called it a beautiful anise characteristic, because when I think of black licorice, beautiful is not normally the word that comes to mind.
I don't
that's
like
true.
it either.
I'm like showing to people who like licorice.
I've experienced it, but in this, I recognize it, but it's in the right environment.
Right.
Right.
It's not a jelly bean.
When it's
Well,
used correctly.
and I feel like the fruit on this, and then also that warm vanilla, the little hint of almost caramel really balances out the note that licorice and anise tends to carry. And it is such a beautiful wine. I'm really happy to have it here on the tasting. And I think this is going to be my wine for the evening. The one I won't want to share with my neighbors.
Right. So Jed, I had a couple of questions that I had in my mind kind of before we went on, because I know that you sometimes have a prairie dog problem in your vineyard, and you know I heard a story that how you like to take care of those issues sometimes and whatnot, but I don't know if everybody likes that, but I think it's fun.
What problem?
Okay.
I don't know of any problem.
So, yeah, I don't have prairie dogs,
No?
nor do I have pocket gophers, which are more detrimental in a vineyard. And the reason is because I have a rodinator,
A what?
What's
a
that?
rodinator.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a propane and oxygen blend of gas going down in the, I find the the little hole. And I put this nozzle, cover it with dirt, inject a minute and a half worth of propellant, I guess we'd call it.
Yeah.
And then I hit the spark, and it burns all the oxygen out of the burrow. All that tunnel. I can only imagine what that little varmint sees coming down the tunnel, and then he's got no fur, and he's cold, and he's got no oxygen. So it's a bad thing.
You're reminding me of my favorite movie, Caddyshack.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly it.
No dynamite was used.
Right.
Real, folks. It's real.
Who has time for sticks?
But there's plenty of pocket gophers out there. I'm not destroying the environment,
Nope.
but I am protecting my grapevines so that they are not annihilated by pocket gophers.
Yeah. So we
I
can.
will advocate.
I've got other things that are trying to destroy my vineyard, but I can control that one.
For those of us who have lived in the West Texas, they are, how do you say? I'm trying to be nice, use all my really nice words. They're not the cute little furry things that are running around. They are a detriment. They're if you have livestock, they're a detriment. If you have anything that's growing in the ground, they are a detriment. They really do a whole lot of damage. So Jet's not cruel and unusual. He's making great wine.
Right.
I'm gonna protect.
A leg or a cow can break a leg in those holes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never tried this, but if you were to put your hand down in there and the gopher was there, he's got sharp teeth for a reason. He wouldn't think twice about annihilating your fingers. So, okay.
Puts a new spin on finger steaks.
True. True.
Good one.
All right, Nicole, I want to hear your thoughts on this 15 and how you feel like it's relating to the others.
I'm really excited about the tannins, and I know when I first started at the winery trying to learn about tannins, and for someone who's new, it can be very intimidating and hard to understand. But tannins are the backbone to a wine, and so I'm just tickled for this vintage that it's got fantastic tannins. So it's carrying through. It's got some longevity to it. Some of the characteristics I'm picking up are almost like a raspberry fig jam to this wine. It still has some chocolate notes. It kind of makes me think of like when Grayson was selling me chocolate mint cookies from the Girl Scouts. It's got the baking spices, it's got the chocolate. And when I say mint, it's more like It's kind of on the back end that you pick up the mint. It's not in your face. It's not fruit. It's not mint forward, but more just kind of on the tail end. Subtle. Thank you. And but those are some of the things I pick up. It's also a little bit on the velvety side, which I think is kind of fun with this wine. But very delicious and just really excited on how it's coming across. Beautiful, beautiful wine.
I concur with the velvety on the
Mhm.
finish. Yep. Getting that in spades.
There's
Keep
also
it up.
toastiness. All the wines have aged almost 2 years, or are usually 2 years in the American white oak barrels. But this one I pick up a little more of a toastiness that's very beautiful as well on the palate with this wine.
All right. Oh, cool. So we always talk about food and wine, you know, favorite wine out of the three, favorite pairing. You want to, I guess, Rachel, you want to?
No, not first. I'm so sorry. You know, this is my first
I
one back. Quite some time.
I'm ready. I have been thinking about this for quite some time now.
It looks like
Essentially, since my taste and smell came back, all I have thought about is food. So Gino used to make a focaccia pizza with the truffle and the
Oh.
mushroom. Holy smokes. I
Wow,
think that would
yeah.
go
Holy
incredibly well with any of these. And then I remember shortly, I guess, February of 2020, we, in the Art of Food and Wine pairing, we'd actually paired the 2017 Cab with a vanilla panna cotta with some blue cheese mousse and some strawberry fig preserves on top. And it was gorgeous. And it was a really gorgeous dessert pairing for a dry red wine. And I just think it would be lovely too. So I'm thinking about pizza and dessert.
yes. That's-
In the same bottle.
Yeah.
My kind of woman.
All right, Joe, what do you think?
Gosh, that's hard to top. That thinking about that truffle pizza that Gino used to make is pretty spot on. I would add last night my 10-year-old Nathan and my wife made kind of a beautiful pot roast that I was thinking would actually pair very well with maybe the 17, but this the 15 is pretty spectacular. You know, I'm thinking maybe a beef bourguignon or something along those lines. But yeah.
Awesome.
I'd
Yeah.
come over for dinner for that one.
What's that?
I'd come over for dinner for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd show up on the doorstep.
And I'll pour the wine. I'll have the wine ready.
Thank you, Bobby.
Rachel, what do you think?
Oh my God, I don't know. Sorry. I
Oh,
wasn't prepared. It's been a while. I didn't take good notes.
I gotcha.
I apologize.
Jet, what do you think? What's on the menu? What do you think?
Okay, I'm always impressed with y'all's repertoire on all the different really, I mean, these foods that y'all talk about, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've never had that. So I'll go, I'm backbone-ish. I've been experimenting with flat iron steaks and caramelized onions with a little garlic, roasted in there. The Worcestershire sauce, maybe not as fancy, but when you sit down and you're hungry and you get into that, and of course some roasted potatoes on the side, really roasted, not just a little, but
Starch is broken down really good.
yes.
So, do we
I'm-
want crunchy on the outside?
Put on
I'm
potatoes.
hungry now. I'm hungry.
Just tell me it's in a cast iron skillet.
Yes, all of it's in the cast iron skillet. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, I will say really quick, I would like a mushroom risotto with the 15.
Oh, yes.
There we
Yes,
go.
it does.
Maybe
That's so
mushroom
delicious.
spinach risotto. Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't ask me again, that's all I got.
Oh, that's That's great. Nicole, what do you think?
Let's see. I think one of my favorites, especially for like the 2017, would be a ribeye. I'm really partial to
Ooh.
ribeyes. So just a good ribeye where it's got some great depth of flavor. It's also got a little marbling on it, which keeps it from being too dry, but keeps a lot of flavor. And then also, our chef Michael made a blue cheese semifredo, which I think would be great with that too. So that kind of pungent. Now, granted, in a semifredo, it's not as strong as if you were eating a piece of blue cheese. So it's a little softer on the palate. But that would be very delicious. I'm thinking for the 2016, this might be a little out there, but like a roasted duck. And I think duck has just a lot of great depth of flavor. It's one of my favorite birds. So I think that would be really good. And then I think on the 15, Jet was kind of mentioning like tacos, and sometimes you can have some tacos with some different, people are going to make fun of me, but some tacos people might consider simple, but there's some that have some great complexity depending on the ingredients you're adding in, like what kind of vegetables that you're sauteing. So I would say like tacos, or even like a good, like a Cuban burrito would be great. And then, just thinking of what sometimes likes to attack us, maybe even like a roasted gopher might be great on the palate.
That was not okay, Kim. Nope. 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 That was different.
Even with potatoes, even with some starch.
Roasted gopher with pepitas? Is that what you
with potatoes? But hey, pepitas would make it more upscale.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I have to say, I'm totally with Gary Clark on this. Number 4 Whataburger combo with the 16. I'm all in on that.
That's a good Texan remark.
There you go.
Yeah, no, you can't beat Whataburger at all. Awesome. Yeah, no.
Is that a green chili burger?
Oh, green chili.
Might be.
Yum yum.
Yeah.
Hey, speak
That
up.
was a bacon
Mary,
cheeseburger.
what is it?
Bacon cheeseburger.
I don't have my app on me right now, so
It's something good though. We know that.
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Well, this is amazing evening, everybody. Really appreciate y'all sharing this with each other, and Jet coming on to share this with us, and the amazing, wonderful growing that you do for us here. Yeah, this is really fun. I know next week we've got a big week. It's Groundhog Day, so
There you go.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's
Kind of all ties in together. I mean,
great.
so it'll be week 96. So I believe it's groundbreaking Groundhog Day. So we're going to be we're going to be revealing a new estate Sauvignon Blanc 2020 vintage. It hasn't been really released yet. It's just a kind of a sneak peek. We're going to do the 2020 Signet because we want to get ready for spring because it's cold. It's just, I don't know. I'm just ready for it. And then 2017 Main Street Cab. So Main Street Cab has been released at our Main Street location. So something that you can just get there exclusively. So we want to, showcase that.
And if you're a groundhog, you'd be wise to stay out of Jet's Vineyard.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
I'll release my Rhodesian Ridgeback on you.
That's it. It's all over. We're going to roast it up with some twice baked potatoes.
And pepitas.
Pepitas.
Very important.
We have to work on the sauce that goes with that.
Yeah.
To be
To
continued.
be continued. That's right.
And Joe, you and I have got to get together and share some more stories about our our childhood and how we got to do things out in the wild.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Might
I
have
feel
to
like
have,
there should never be a book written about these experiences. Do not put this in writing, ever. For the children to come, do not do it.
Or grape braided. There we
Grape-braided.
go.
Right, right.
from doctor to doctor, you know? There we go. Well, everybody, here's to great wine, great health, great friends, and we'll see y'all next week for a beautiful week 96. Thank you guys again.